Good evening, and I'd like to welcome you all in the gallery tonight, both sitting here in the presence and also the virtual gallery. Coming out on a very cold night like tonight, you know, I commend you for that. We have two of our councillors who are on the screen. Councillor Ben Green is attending virtually, and as is Councillor Gerard Murphy. I would all like you to stand for the acknowledgement to country. I would like to start the meeting by acknowledging and extending my appreciation for the Dja Dja Wurrung people, the traditional owners of the land we're standing on today. We pay our respects to leaders and elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, the culture and the hopes of the Dja Dja Wurrung people. Now for the council prayer. Almighty God, we ask you to be present in this council, direct and guide our deliberations. We ask you to grant us wisdom and sensitivity as we deal with the business of Central Goldfields Shire. May each decision we make advance the well-being of all our residents. This we pray. Amen. We'll go on to item 2, apologies. We have one apology. Our General Manager, Infrastructure, Assets and is not here tonight, and also our General Manager for Community Wellbeing, Emma Little, is not in attendance tonight. I think we have all the councillors in attendance. Thank you, councillors. We'll also, Councillor Long has a request for leave, I believe, so could you...
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to put in a request for a leave of absence from the 24th of July to the 2nd of September inclusive, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, do I have a mover to grant? Yes, Councillor Meyer. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bartlett, thank you. All in favour? Councillors, all in favour? Councillor Murphy? You can't see. Okay. Look, that is carried because we have got the majority of the councillors responding. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? Councillor Meyer.
I've got a conflict of interest of 7.3, the council budget.
And that conflict is?
The conflict of interest, Madam Mayor, is that I am the president of Maryborough Little Athletics Club, and that is part of the budget tonight.
Thank you very much, Councillor Meyer. We'll move on to item 4 of the agenda, the confirmation of the minutes. Councillors, do have a mover and a seconder for the confirmation of the minutes of council meeting held on the 28th of May 2025.
Madam Mayor, I would like to confirm them, subject to a few amendments I would like to make, please.
Certainly. Do I have a seconder to this motion?
I'll second.
Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Long, would you like to speak
Thank
to
you, Mayor. So there's a few things that I would like amended, please. First of all, the declaration of conflict of interest, and I'll read them out. So it was stated that Councillor Long declared a conflict of interest in item 7.1 as Councillor Long is president of the Central Goldfields Bushwalking and Hiking Club Inc. and the club, together with the Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail, opposed to broiler farm developments. This is in fact incorrect. The Hiking Club does not oppose the broiler farm developments. They are neutral in this aspect. So I would like it reworded, please, to Councillor Long declared a conflict of interest in item 7.1 as Councillor Long is president of the Central Goldfields Bushwalking and Hiking Club Inc. and the club hosted a joint walk in conjunction with the Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail, who opposed the broiler farm developments. The second item I would like amended, please, is that in item 7.1 I had a conflict of interest as stated, and it said that I left the meeting. However, before item 7.2 there was no statement of me rejoining the meeting. So if I could have that altered to before item 7.2 that it states Councillor Elizabeth Long rejoined the meeting in person. And then the third item I would request for an amendment is that Councillor Myers' name was misspelt multiple times, and for that to be corrected, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Councillor de Villiers, wish to speak to this?
Yeah, no,
Fine.
yeah.
Councillors, all in agreement? That is carried. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, minutes of delegated and advisory committees. Councillors, do I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move that we receive.
Councillor Barr, thank you. Do you have a seconder? Councillor de Villiers. Sorry, that's all right.
Yep.
Councillor de Villiers. I'll put that in favour. All in favour? That is carried. Thank you. Petitions, there are no petitions. Have you received any petitions? No petitions at this point in time. Now we get into the officers' reports. Item number 7. 7.1. Councillors, this report on tonight's agenda is on page 58 and is entitled Update the Carisbrook Levy Review Draft Implementation Plan. Do I have a motion? Councillor de Villiers. Do you read that motion, please?
Yes, let me just get to my page. If I can navigate this machine. With what happens when you go. Okay, wrong arrow. The recommendation is that Council notes the status of actions contained in the Carisbrook Independent Levy Review Draft Implementation Plan, Attachment 1, that officers will make the information contained in Attachment 1 available to the community via the Council website, and thirdly, that officers are in the process of finalising contract documents to engage consultants to undertake the Carisbrook Flood Management Plan review and update, which will address remaining actions in the draft implementation plan and will incorporate consultation with the Carisbrook community.
Thank you, Councillor. Do I have Councillor Long?
Nothing further to add, thank you.
Anything further to add? Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like to state that this report is just reporting on the actions that's been identified in the levy review draft implementation plan. My tongue gets tongue-tied. What I would like to say is that it's particularly pleasing to note that the survey of all the state marks have been completed, as stated in the officer's report, and another action 22, valves under Pyrenees Highway. I know that was a concern during the 2022 floods, and that is underway of replacing or installing valves. The draft implementation plan was developed, and the aim of tonight is to report back on progress. It's a long report, a number of items, and I would like to encourage the audience to download, if you're interested, the report attached to the agenda for tonight's meeting, to read it and just take note of what's been said. So this is very much a work still in progress, and we're all watching it with great attention. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Long, I did ask you, and you had nothing
further to add, thank you.
Thank you. I will put this to the vote. Is there anyone against, firstly? Anyone against this motion? Being no one against this motion, I will now put it to the vote. All in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to 7.2, councillors, the second report on tonight's agenda is on page 65 and is entitled Draft Rating and Revenue Plan 25 to 29. Do I have a motion, councillors? Councillor Bartlett?
I'd like to recommend that the council, having invited and considered written submissions on its revenue and rating plan 2025 to 2029, adopt its revenue and rating plan provided as attachment 1 to this report in accordance with section 93 of the Local Government Act 2020.
Thank you, councillor Bartlett. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Long? Councillor Bartlett, would you like to speak to this motion?
Just a couple of notes. In accordance with the integrated strategic planning and reporting framework we use, the revenue and rating plan provides a medium-term plan outlining how council will generate its income to deliver on the council plan, the programs and the services, as well as the capital works commitments over the next 4 years. The plan defines council's revenue and rating mix to meet the cost of delivering the services to the community and should further incorporate consideration of the following factors: how the revenue will be generated, review of fees and service charges, evaluations of the municipal charge, assessment of recurrent and non-recurrent government grants, reviews of the differential classes, evaluation of hardship policies, exploration of entrepreneurial business and collaborative activities to deliver the programs. In addition, the key policies in the revenue and rating plan include, it outlines, people can see it in the plan itself, the 7 different differential rates. I won't go through all the detail, people can look that up online, but I commend the report to the council and hope we all vote in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Long, you wish to speak?
Just quickly, look, nobody likes paying rates, but this is a very important part of our revenue stream. So, I wholeheartedly endorse this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, I'm going to put anyone against this motion. No? Being no one against this motion, I'll put the motion. All in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to the most important decision councils make in any given year is the 25-26 council budget, and that is on page 94 of your papers.
Well, I think the excuse about Meredith's conflict.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, certainly. Thank you, councillor Meyer. Do I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Murphy. Thank you.
So, I hope the recommendation, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
First? Okay. The recommendation, there's a fair amount of them, but I think it's important to read them all out in verbatim. And I know that the gallery would probably like to hear them all, including our officers. The recommendation, the council adopts the 25-26 budget with adjustments identified from the draft annual budget to the income statement balance sheet, capital program and user fees and charges as outlined with this report. Approves loan borrowings of $500,000 in line with the budget for the Delidio Recreation Reserve Pavilion upgrade. Adopts and declares the fees and charges as listed within the 25-26 budget for the financial year. Declares an amount of $19,456 million, which council intends to raise by general rates and annual service charges for the period of 1st of July 25 to 30th of June 26. Calculated as follows. General rates, including estimated supplementary rates of $12,736,000. Municipal charges, $1,684,000. And service rates and charges, waste management, $5,036,000. Declares a municipal charge of $202 for each rateable assessment in respect of which a municipal charge may be levied in the 25-26 financial year. Declares an annual service charge of $1,060 for curbside garbage and recycling collection for the period of 1st of July 2025 to 30th of June 2026. Declares a rate in the dollar for each type of rate to be levied with the period as follows. The type of rate value is I'm going to leave that one as in the recommendation. People can read that. Adopts the levy, the general rates and service charges referred to in this resolution by the service notice on each person liable to pay such rate of charge in accordance with Section 158 of the Local Government Act 1989. And I've lost my page. It's funny how you get caught up when you're in your office. Here it is. And in accordance with Section 167, Local Government Act adopts the rates and charges declared by the Council for the 25-26 financial year and declares that they must be paid as follows. 4 instalments. Instalment 1, 30 September 25. Instalment 2, 30th November 25. Instalment 3, 28th of February 26. Instalment 4, 31st of May 26. All by a lump sum by the 15th of February 26. Finally, on this recommendation, thanks to the community members who participated in the community engagement process to inform the 25-26 budget. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Murphy. Seconder, Councillor Long.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to speak to this. Second to this motion, I would like to point out, as you did yourself, that this is the most important item for councillors to deliberate on. This critical piece of work outlines how the Central Goldfields Shire Council will continue to fund over 37 valued services to the community, delivering necessary infrastructure projects and maintaining internal operations. This year's budget reflects our shared commitment to delivery on community priorities while ensuring responsible financial management and long-term sustainability. The 25-26 budget forecasts a 1.58 million surplus, building upon the forecast surplus of 723,000 for the 24-25 and significantly reversing the $5 million deficit recorded in the 23-24 year. Just a few items of note are that the Capital Works program totals $10,062,000, with $4.3 million in newly committed projects and $6.32 million in carry forward works. Approximately 95% of this investment is allocated to renewing and upgrading existing infrastructure. However, as these words are rolling off my tongue, I don't feel that justice is being done to the 6 months and countless hours that Central Goldfields Shire General Managers, officers and staff have put in. I would hereby like to commend our interim CEO, Ms Jones, and her staff on bringing this budget to us. The end result being this positive financial outlook that reflects Council's continued focus on efficiency, cost control and long-term sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Now, Councillor Murphy, would you like to speak to your item? Given you moved.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. I think Councillor Long has said a fair amount of it. I'm just really going away from where Councillor Long talked about. We talk about the Capital Works program total 10.62 million, with 4.3 million in newly committed projects and 6.3 million in carry forward works. The positive financial outlook reflects Council's continued focus on efficiency, cost control and long-term sustainability. Now, we have reviewed the revenue and rating strategy, which is really important, ensuring the equitable distribution of rates across the whole of the municipality. So the budget has included 10.6 million for capital works, which is considered sustainable for the 25-26 year, and 4.3 million in newly committed projects and 6.3 million in carry works projects. As Councillor Long would have said, that Council proposed to borrow 500,000 for the Olivia Recreation Reserve Pavilion upgrade, which we have got a grant, and this is a very positive for the community, not only in Denali but for the whole of our community. And the other one I wanted to talk about is this. Finally, as Councillor Long said, I'd like to thank the team. And it is a lot of work, and I'd like to thank our interim General Manager of we'll say finance, because I keep forgetting the whole long name of it. Anthony is in the room at the moment, and the team that was worked with him and all the people who actually do the hard work. I know about budgets. I understand them. I can read them, but I know how hard it is to get to a point with a budget, and especially on a budget of this size, which we have to make it work. We don't have a lot of money to make it work. We can't do everything, but we have to make it work, and we got to be responsible to it. It's difficult times. We have difficult times now, and we must make this work, and we must work at it. There's be constituents in the community who'll say, why can't you do this or why can't you do that? We don't have the money. We've got to make decisions, and we just have to make things work. So I commend the budget for 25-26 to everyone. We move forward into the new year and be very positive about how we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Do I have anyone opposing this motion? Nobody opposing the motion. I will put this motion to the vote. All those in favour? That is unanimous, carried. Thank you. We now move on to, we'll just get Councillor Meyer. Thank you. We'll now move on to 7.4 on tonight's agenda, which is on page 156 of your papers. Amendment C40 to the Central Goldfields Planning Scheme Maryborough Heritage Overlay Authorisation Exhibit. Do I have a mover for this motion?
I'll move that, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Bartlett.
Yep.
Would you like to read the recommendation?
Okay. That council consider all matters as required by section 12(2) of the Planning and Environment Act 1987 and resolve to 1. Seek ministerial authorisation pursuant to section 8A clause 2 of the Planning and Environment Act 1987 to prepare amendment C40 to the Central Goldfields Planning Scheme in accordance with the amendment documentation and reports forming as a separate attachment to this report, to remove HO 206 and apply new heritage overlays to give statutory protection to 7 individual places, 9 heritage precincts and 2 group listings, and make associated changes to policy and guidance documents to that better reflect the heritage values of the study area. Point 2, following receipt of ministerial authorisation, exhibit the planning scheme amendment in accordance with the provisions of the Planning and Environment Act 1987. And point 3, delegate to the Chief Executive Officer the ability to make any changes to amendment documentation for planning scheme amendment C40 prior to exhibition if requested by the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, or if required by a condition of ministerial authorisation.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Long. Councillor Bartlett, would you like to speak to your motion?
As this report only came to us a few weeks ago, I had some initial reservations of what it was going to contain. I thought when the first blush, so to speak, I thought it was creating 2 classes of residents, but that fear has been somewhat assuaged because of, I note in our reports, there will be a role for an exemption document is also being proposed to help with the getting through of this proposed amendment. The amendment start in 1992 when we, the Heritage Precinct idea started in 1992, so it's 33 years ago. So it's been in 1999. Planning scheme controls came in And in 2005, the Central Goldfields Shire Heritage Review Stage 1 recommended Maryborough Precinct as a high priority. So we adopted the H0206, and I guess we've been under that for 20 odd years, and a lot of land has been under this heritage thing and can't be developed. So recommendations came through to commence the review back in 2022, 3 years ago, to free up land to allow development to proceed, because we have a lot of great heritage building, but a lot of the buildings in the town are just old, not everything's heritage. So the creation of the 9 precincts has freed up a good portion of the town to be able to be redeveloped, to help with the infill developments that state government are bringing in through Victoria's plan to add another 1,700 dwellings to the Shire. So I highly concur that if this amendment is approved by the Minister, it would be a great thing for us to redevelop our Shire again. While at the same time, there is a number of the 9 precincts where people can apply for exemptions, but there's also the 7 individual places of the high significance places which will be protected. So I highly commend it to the rest of the councillors to come in favour.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Long.
Nothing further to add. I think Councillor Bartlett's done an absolutely amazing job in surmising this motion. Thank you.
Anyone against this motion? Nobody against? Well, I'm going to put them, you got
I
to,
would like to make a comment.
no, there's
I
no one
cannot do a
against, no.
comment.
Against the motion, councillor Murphy? Okay. Given there's no one against the motion, do you want a point of clarification?
He's on mute.
Yeah. Can't hear you, councillor Murphy. You're on mute.
So I would like to speak to the motion, please.
Well, this is not in true governance, but I will allow it tonight, given this is an important item. But this is not the normal governance. You speak to it, you move it, you second it, and then you speak against it, then you speak for it. There will not be a right of reply if you're speaking for the motion. Is that understood? Thank you. So on this occasion, I'll let this go, but only on this occasion. So councillor Murphy, councillor de Villiers did put a hand up in the first instance, but you will get a minute.
Yeah, it won't be more than that. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for that, because I think this is a really important report, and it's and there were community members who were involved with this for the length of this report. So this study was initiated almost 2 years ago. Councillor Jeff Lovett, myself, and a number of local residents nominated to be on the panel. It was a fascinating process and interesting to see how the decisions were made. What impressed me most was the local knowledge of members of the panel. In fact, including myself, 2 of the other original members, Wayne and Judy McHale, are here tonight. And I would like to use this opportunity to thank the members of the panel, because this has been going on for quite some time, for their patience, commitment, and the input delivered when reading the report resulting from this process. So just a word of thank you to the community members who were involved with this.
Thank you, councillor Villiers.
Thank you.
Councillor Murphy, 1 minute.
I'd just like to make a point of order. This is one of the only council groups that do this, that doesn't allow everyone to speak. That's all I need to say to start with.
No, that's incorrect, councillor.
And this is not fair on the councillors not to be able to speak. And that's what I'm trying to say. All the councillors, if they want to speak on something, should be allowed to speak. I'll leave it at that.
Councillor
I
Murphy,
want to
that is
speak.
incorrect.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
incorrect.
Thank you.
Governance rules,
Thank you.
that is incorrect. So
I think you're wrong, Mayor. So there you go.
Well, there you go. That is a breach, in my view. Thank you, councillor. I will now put the motion 7.4. Those in favour of this motion? Those against? Thank you. That is carried. We now move to 7.5. It's on page 164 of your papers. S5, Instrument of Delegation, Council to CEO. So Delegation Council to the CEO. Do I have a mover for this? Thank you, Councillor Long.
Thank you, Mayor. The recommendation, and I will read this out because this is an important one. The recommendation is in the exercise of the power conferred by S11(1)(b) of the Local Government Act 2020, the Act, Central Goldfields Shire Council resolves that, number one, there be delegated to the person holding the position or acting in or performing the duties of Chief Executive Officer the powers, duties and functions set out in the attached instrument of delegation to the Chief Executive Officer, subject to the conditions and limitations specified in that instrument. Number two, the instrument comes into force immediately upon this resolution being made and is to be signed by the Council's Chief Executive Officer and the Mayor. Number three, on the coming into force of the instrument, all previous delegations to the Chief Executive Officer are revoked. And number four, finally, the duties and functions set out in the instrument must be performed and the powers set out in the instrument must be executed in accordance with any guidelines or policies of Council that it may from time to time adopt. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Seconder to this motion. Councillor Bartlett. Councillor Long.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the Mayor, I'm happy to move that Council endorse the S5 Instrument of Delegation Council to the CEO. This is, of course, a statutory item and hence will allow the CEO to fully discharge their duties and responsibilities. With the imminent commencement of Council's new permanent Chief Executive Officer that I'm sure everyone's very excited about, so welcome, a review was undertaken of the existing S5 Instrument of Delegation from Council to the CEO. This review identified that when this document was last considered by Council on the 16th of September 2024, an unexpected inconsistency pertaining to the application of GST was reflected in the document. In order to remove this inconsistency and provide better clarity for Council's new Chief Executive Officer, this matter has been presented for Council's consideration and I'm happy to move it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have anyone against this motion? Oh, Councillor Bartlett,
No, nothing further.
nothing. Do I have anyone against this motion? Nobody against? I will now put this motion. All in favour? That is carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 7.6, and this is on page 170 of your papers, the Councillor Internal Resolution Procedure. Do I have a mover for this? Councillor de Villiers? No?
I move it.
Do I have a mover for this item 7.6?
Sorry, yeah, I'll move it. Sorry, I was
You don't have to.
somewhere. No, I'll move it. No, I was just not focusing, not concentrating.
Okay,
It's been a
thank
long
you.
day.
Moved by Councillor de Villiers. Would you like to read the recommendation,
Sure.
please?
The recommendation is that Council adopt its Council Law Internal Resolution Procedure, provided it's attachment 1 to this report.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Long, thank you. Doing a lot of heavy lifting tonight, Councillor. Would you like to speak to the motion?
No, I would just like to say that it's a really interesting document to read, since it applies to us specifically, and I think it's a really good document, and it will be easy to follow as well if needed.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone against this motion? No one against this motion. I will put this motion to the vote. All in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 7.7, which is page 179 in your papers, Audit and Risk Committee's report to Council. Do I have a mover for this motion?
Thank you.
I can move
Do I
it.
have a, yes, councillor
Thank you.
de Villiers.
So the recommendation is that council note the audit and risk biannual reports for December 2024 and June 2025. So we're receiving two reports, yes.
Thank you, councillor de Villiers. Do I have a seconder for this motion?
Second? Yep.
Councillor Bartlett? Okay, thank you. Would you like to speak to a councillor de Villiers?
Yes. The Audit and Risk Committee performs a really important function to make things run smoothly. They particularly specifically focus on audits and making sure, and that includes audits of management and procedures at council. And they report that back to us at council. And also we get the Governor General's recommendations. They do an annual audit of councils, and we receive that on an annual basis, which makes for really interesting reading. And that's available on the website. We had one member resign recently, and a new member has been appointed. And actually, two new members. Another member was appointed end of last year. But I would just like to say that I think this is a very thorough report, and represents what the Audit and Risk Committee is about. So it makes for good reading. So I would recommend people download it and read it.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Bartlett.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo Councillor de Villiers. Reassure the community that improvements have been made. These reports from the auditors that the committee receives from internal and external auditors and the Victorian Auditor General, they're welcomed. They're reassurance that, as outlined further in tonight's discussion, the Register of Actions highlighted that issues of concern are being attended to. Before I joined council, I had no idea what it was all about, this art committee, and it's probably, I think, one of the most important committees of council that the wider community would do well to try and learn more about. That it covers every aspect of council operations, and I can't stress how highly important it is that occupational health and safety across the entire organisation is paramount. There's so many, I've got time to find and read out just a couple of points. Waste management and resource recovery internal audits, councillor inductions, annual plans and meeting dates, governance policies. There's so many policy reviews that just, the list is endless. And the people in charge, the committee chair, John Watson, as an ex-CEO, local government inspector, he's got a wealth of knowledge, and it's great to learn from those people in charge of the committee. Just to see where we actually sit, and to have been reassured by him that, there's a lot of negative comments in the community, but there's some good things happening behind the scenes, and I'd just like to testify to that. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Bartlett. Do we have anyone against this motion? Given there's no one against this motion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. Moving down to 7.8, which is 186 in your papers, the review of council's community asset committees. Do I have a mover for this? Councillor de Villiers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to move a deferral for this item, pending further consultation with existing committee members, just to reassure ourselves as to the content of the report.
Thank you, councillor de Villiers. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Myers. Councillor de Villiers, would you like to speak to your deferral, or would you just like to have it
I think
put?
I'll just put it, yeah.
Thank
Leave
you.
it like that. Thanks.
Anyone against the deferral? Being no one against the deferral, I put the deferral motion. All those in favour? That is carried.
Thank you.
very much.
Get a point of clarification? Sorry, too late.
Yes, councillor?
Deferred till when?
Well, deferred until we get further information. Is that correct? I'll refer it to our,
Sorry.
That's okay.
yeah, defer it to further.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm assuming that Councillor de Villiers is seeking consultation with existing community members.
Yes.
And then, I would suggest that once that's been undertaken, a report will come back to council.
Yes.
Yeah. So it will be a conversation between.
Terrific. Thank you very much. You happy with
Sorry,
that
yep, thank you.
clarification? Thank you. We'll put the motion, I think we did put the motion. Probably shouldn't let you in there. Doesn't matter, it's all learning curve. So thank you very much. We're moving on to item 7.9, which is 190 in your pack, in your papers, draft updated art collection policy. Do I have a mover? Do I have a mover? Councillor Meyer, would you like to speak the recommendation?
Recommendation that council adopt the updated draft art collection policy.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Long. Councillor Myers, would you like to speak to this?
I think this is a great policy that our officers have put forward to us today. There's over 180 artworks, been going since 1995, then moved to its new location in 1996. So I'm all for it. Obviously, we've just recently won awards in our art sector, and I think this is a great thing for our community moving forward. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Meyer. Councillor Long.
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly, I really think Central Goldfield Shire punches above its weight with our art gallery. We are absolutely blessed to have such a facility that is run by such dedicated staff and volunteers. And I urge everyone out there, if you haven't been to our art gallery, please go and visit it. It is free. There is no cost involved, and there is some amazing exhibitions, and anyone that hasn't attended an exhibition opening, I urge you to go and see one as well. It is just gobsmackingly wonderful what we put on. Thank you.
I echo your thoughts. Thank you very much. Given we have no one against this policy, can I put it to a vote? All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. We're going down to 7.10, which is the draft play space strategy. That's on page 200 of your papers. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Long. Hello, you again.
Me again. Last one. Our recommendation is that council notes that the draft play space strategy was advertised for a period of 3 weeks and that no submissions were received as part of the consultation process. Number 2, adopt the play space strategy attachments 1 and 2 as final, and notes the recommendation identified in the play space strategy will be incorporated in council's asset management plan and long-term financial plan for future consideration.
Thank you. Seconder for this motion? Councillor Bartlett. Councillor Long.
Thank you,
would
Mayor.
like to-
Through the Mayor, I would love to. Happy to move that council endorse the play space strategy, and hopefully I don't have to say that too many more times. Tongue twister. I've mentioned this before, of course. Play is such an important part in the development of early childhood, as it allows children to use their creativity while developing their imagination, dexterity and physical, cognitive and emotional strengths. Play is also important in healthy brain development, and it is through play that children at a very early age engage and interact in the world around them. The draft play space strategy, which is now to be adopted out of draft, was identified in Council's Active Central Goldfields Recreation and Open Space Strategy 2029, or ROS for short, which was adopted by Council on the 22nd of September 2020. The document recommended that council undertake a play space inventory review and utilise the results to develop a play space strategy. Future needs, improvements and opportunities for playgrounds specified in the ROS and through consultation with relevant internal stakeholders included compliance, nature play, multi-age playground and sensory play opportunities. This strategy aims to provide council with a framework that will guide the planning, provision and management of play spaces, ensuring equitable, inclusive, diverse, safe and engaging mix of play opportunities across the Shire. Now this, of course, council received a $30,000 grant through the Victorian Government Local Sports Infrastructure Fund, and council has contributed $45,000 to undertake the play space strategy. Now, this project included community consultation, which led to a whopping 300 submissions from our community members, and the finding of this was, of course, being considered when developing the strategy. Now, 2 months ago, for those playing at home, might remember that I moved at the special meeting of council on the 30th of April that council resolved to endorse its draft play space strategy, provided as attachment 1 or 2 to the report for community consultation for a 3-week period, and to receive a further report following the completion of the consultation process. In accordance with the resolution, council undertook a 3-week period of community consultation commencing on the 1st of May and it concluded on the 22nd of May. This period of community engagement was shared via council's regular media and communications channels and used the council website as a means of eliciting feedback. At the end of the 3-week time frame, the web page received 89 total page views. However, council received no formal submissions on the draft play space strategy. So in light of this, with no amendment made, I'm happy to move this strategy. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Councillor Bartlett.
Nothing further to add, Mayor.
Okay, anyone against this motion? All those in favour of this motion? That is carried. Thank you very much. We're now moving on to item 7.10. Audit action items, quarter 3. It's page 365 of your papers. Do I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Bartlett.
Move, Mayor. Recommendation that the council note the quarterly audit action items report for quarter 3 of the 2024-25 financial year, covering the period 1st of January to the 31st of March 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Do I have a seconder? Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Bartlett, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Well, as I alluded to earlier when we received the biannual report from the Audit and Risk Committee, one of the things they highlight in that committee all the time is the audit snapshot of how many actions are ongoing for the entity to address. And I'll just point out that there's 53 actions on the books at the moment. They're in various categories: minor, moderate and major. Only 4 of those 53 are considered to be major issues, and 22 and 25 are minor and moderate respectively. So it provides a great summary of progress we're making, and I commend to the fellow councillors to receive the report.
Thank you very much. Councillor de Villiers.
And I would just like to add to what Councillor Bartlett has just said, in that this report is different to the quarterly reports we normally receive against the council plan. So this one is against the Audit and Risk Committee. So these are the audits that's done by external bodies. So, and that makes, I think this is the first time this has been presented to us at council in the 4 years I've been on council. Just a comment, I'll have to double check my facts. But so it's really, so this has been updated, and so this is the past, this is an audit of actions that was identified during the past, quarter 1 and 2 of 2024-2025, and quarter 3 of 2024-2025. So that's the past 9 months. And this highlights the scrutiny under which the council officers work. So but I would really like to encourage you to have a look at the list of actions that's been identified by the Audit and Risk Committee and the intensity and the depth to which these audits are conducted. So, thank you.
Thank you, councillor de Villiers. Anyone against this motion? All that. I'll put that to the council. All in favour? That is carried. We're getting down to item number 8, councillors' reports and general business. There is none. We are now moving on to notices of motion. There is one notice of motion, and I would like to ask, I need to vacate the chair for this notice of motion, and I would like to ask Councillor Long to take over the chair whilst I vacate the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. As the Mayor has vacated the chair and I'm now the chair, I would like to ask for a notice of motion, and Councillor Lavella, you have a notice of motion.
Yes, I do have a notice of motion. It's in my papers here somewhere. I gave it to you, that's correct. So the notice of motion, I, Grace Lavella, give notice of my intention to move in the ordinary meeting of council to be held on the 25th of June 25. That council authorises the Mayor to write to the Premier, the Honourable Jacinta Allen, the Treasurer, Jacqueline Symes MP and local state members of Parliament to record Central Goldfields Shire's opposition to the introduction of the new levy due to 1A, the detrimental fiscal impact of the levy on the farming sector, and B, the state government's unilateral decision to financially burden local councils with the collection of this levy rather than using the State Revenue Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Do I have a seconder for this notice of motion, please? Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Lavella, would you like to speak to your motion?
I won't speak anything more on this at this point in time, but I will be putting together a letter and I'll be sending that in to the above named people just in support and to be unified with the rest of the councils, the majority of councils in Victoria.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Councillor de Villiers, would you like to speak?
No, I fully commend this and I support.
Thank you. Any councillors would like to speak against this motion? As there is no one speaking against, I will ask for a vote. All those in favour for the notice of motion? All those against? That is carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Long. Now, we're moving on to urgent business. And that was moved by myself. Moving on to urgent business, item 10. There is no urgent business. We have item number 11, confidential business. There is confidential business tonight, therefore, councillors, do I have a motion that in accordance with section 66(2)A of the Local Government Act 2020, the meeting be closed to the public to allow council to consider the report which contains confidential information. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Long.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we close the meeting to consider confidential business in item 11. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Meyer. Thank you. All in favour? Councillor Murphy, we're saying goodbye to you. Will you be coming back by the end of the meeting? No?
No, I won't be. It's about me. Oh, okay. I better go. I didn't know that. Sorry. What's happening? So,
Councillor Jared Murphy declare a conflict of interest.
Yes, Councillor Murphy.
I've got a so there's something coming up that I have a conflict of interest in.
No, it's not Can I refer it to our governance, please? You should go now. Yes.
Has councillor Murphy declared an interest at the front of at this time of the meeting?
No, we did not.
But,
Councillor Murphy?
but on the agenda items, there's nothing about anything referring to me.
No, well, that's correct. Technically,
So-
that is correct. Yes.
So if
So
there's something
this
referring,
is in relation to. Sorry, I'm just
gonna get some
consulting,
advice, excuse me.
getting some advice.
yeah, okay, I'll leave anyway, so it's okay.
Governance at its best.
Yep. All right, based on the information, the expert information I've just received, I now will close the meeting for a confidential item. So thank you very much for the gallery for being present tonight. We won't be opening up after the confidential, we'll be closing the meeting. So thank you to the virtual gallery and the in-presence gallery for coming out in the cold tonight. Thank you very much.